Welcome to The Young and the Restless. I'm Olivia.
I'm Victor.
And I'm Zach. And this is the podcast sent from the future to destroy you.
Now I lay me down to sleep. I dreamt I had a soul to keep. And if I die before I wake, will that dream just go on for its own sake?
We were talking about how we were mostly water the other day, and the tides came up. And do you think that the moon can have pull over the water that's in your body?
Yeah, that's what astrology is.
I don't think that's what astrology is.
Yeah. When you were born under your moon, it had an effect on you.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard science.
I think this is different. I think the gravity thing is different.
Yeah, I'm talking about how the where the moon is at, it affects the tides, right? And does that, if it has that if the gravity of the moon has that kind of pull over water, could it have any kind of influence on the microcurrents in your bloodstream?
Well, it's not just pulling on water though, right? It's not like its gravity is specific to water. It has gravity. It's affecting everything, and then an observable effect of that gravity is that the water level changes.
Right.
So it's not just affecting the water in your body, it's affecting your whole body.
So do you think it makes you crazy?
Right. It's you're being slightly pulled up, ever so slightly, imperceptibly pulled from the earth. Maybe you're less grounded. I don't know.
Yeah. Sounds like a scientific explanation for witchcraft to me.
It explains something.
Maybe we need a witchcraft explanation for science. Ever think about that?
Yeah. Checks and balances.
That's right. I don't think we've put science through its proper witchcraft paces yet. It hasn't been thoroughly investigated by witchcraft for its validity. Okay, I'll shut up.
So this thing happens sometimes where we will release an episode and then we'll listen to it, and listening to yourself talk about your dream is a different experience, and something will click. And did that happen to someone here?
Yeah, if that happened to anybody, do you mind standing up and revealing yourself?
Man. I always figure out my dreams on the pod.
Oh, yeah, because you're a professional. Yeah, no, I feel okay, so just to recap, we just recorded or released a dream about me going down a slide, and it was an icy slide, and I ended up in a house, and they didn't want me to be there, and it was a trap. And listening to the episode felt like I had an insight into what I feel like the meaning is. So just gonna explain what I think that is, which is we had talked about in the dream that the slide, when we did the Gestalt method, that it felt to me like the part of myself that wants isolation and perfection, kind of my drive, and the part of my drive that is resistant to dealing with other people or feeling dependent or interdependent on anybody. But then my character in the dream was very much motivated by trying to help other people, and involved in people and interested in people. And an insight I had listening to us talk about the episode is that I think that the dream, at least in part, represented a tension within myself between the part of me that is all drive, maybe to a fault of not caring about people or not caring about things outside of trying to check boxes of accomplishments or push myself further in a certain direction, and then the part of myself that is involved in caring about people, being connected to people, the part of you that can find happiness, right? drive thing, the like shallow drive thing of like, oh, I need to check this box. I need to accomplish this task. I need to have this success. That can be empty. But I think if you channel that into being involved with people and caring about people and being involved in your community and trying to do things that better the world, you can find happiness that way. And that's something I personally need to work on. I need to be better about connecting with people. That's the thing. It's like out of my comfort zone a little bit. And so I'm resistant to it. But whenever I do it, it's, one of the more satisfying and, rewarding things you can do with your life. So yeah, that's it. That's all I had.
Yeah, I relate to that. I think about that a lot. I frequently have a sense of like yearning for something, like missing out on something. And I guess I'm accustomed to like thinking that whole will be filled by like going out and playing on stage or like being recognized for doing something cool, something artsy. But when I like think about times that has been the case and like really boiled it down, what was the satisfying part was the sense of community. Yeah. And like, just bonding with people, which doesn't have to be an accomplishment. It's just something you can do.
Right.
And like with music specifically, like I've been playing music a long time. And I've never, I've had like, aspirations over the years of like, oh, maybe I'd get some kind of success with this artistic thing. That never came to pass, but like it is still one of the most satisfying and rewarding things that I've done with my life because I've met so many cool people. I've made so many cool relationships and like had so many great experiences because of music. Best thing I've done with my life was to just take an interest in that and put it out there and meet other people that like doing it. And so it's like you might be chasing some kind of idea of success, but like what you get out of it isn't about that. It's about relationships.
So what's been going on, guy? I realized I was sitting here overthinking like the way to get like into the pod zone. And I was like, why don't I just catch up with my friends?
Yeah. Just talk to them. Not much has been going on, really.
Different artists and different bands and stuff have different eras, right? And for us, we're in the Olivia needs more Adderall era of the podcast.
Yeah.
I swear to God, they're cutting it with something. I had sleep paralysis today in the middle of the day on Adderall. On Adderall, yes. I fell asleep.
You tried doubling up your dose, or is that dangerous?
I can't do that because it's a controlled substance, so I can only get 1 month of it at a time.
Yeah. So if
I do that, then I don't have meds for a day.
Right.
But
they're helping a little bit.
Yeah.
Just not enough.
But it should be helping more. Like when they gave, so the one I was on before, it hadn't been working for a few months. Like it hadn't been working as well. And mind you, I had been on this medication for 7 years at this point, and I had never needed to up my dose ever, not once. And in October, I started feeling it like it wasn't working very well. And then the shortage really hit, and I can't get that medication anywhere. And so they gave me the XRs, and they told me, now you need to be really careful, like eat. You need to make sure you eat before you take this. Like take it super early or you won't sleep at night. Mm-hmm. And I am like hungry and tired, and like it's not working at all. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. It sucks.
We were talking about this a while back, and I was saying I don't think Shelby's experiencing the same thing with because you said you're not alone in this experience. Like you've talked to other people that are going through similar things.
Everybody I've asked has said that the least they've said is that they've felt like they needed to up their dose.
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if it's regional suppliers or something. But that's why Yeah, I was saying that sometimes, some days Shelby doesn't take it. And so she notices, that those days are different than the days she does take it. So stands to reason that nothing has changed with her Adderall. But that's the reason she would not take it, is if she woke up too late.
Yeah. Yeah, because
then it would keep her up at night.
Right. But yeah, I've been having a month-long continuous brain fart. So that's where I'm at right now.
Brain gas. This is random, but I was thinking about this earlier today. Well, it's not random. Anyway, the term heroin overdose, I always thought was funny, or overdose in the context of heroin. It's like that implies that there's an appropriate amount of heroin. You know what I mean? Because like your Adderall at a certain dose, it should improve your life. Like a certain amount.
Right. And at a certain dose, it would stop my heart. So
right.
That's an overdose.
That's an overdose.
The same thing with Tylenol. Like anything that can improve your life at an appropriate dose.
Right.
There's also an overdose of it, but like heroin.
So you're saying it should be like heroin poisoning or whatever?
Yeah, heroin. Yeah, like alcohol.
Heroin is bad for you.
Yeah, no one says alcohol overdose. It's alcohol poisoning.
Right.
Because there's no like appropriate. I mean, there's a responsible, reasonable amount of alcohol, but
that is interesting that we don't call that an overdose when somebody gets alcohol poisoning, because that is what that is. It's the same thing.
Yeah, we don't call it a drug either. I mean,
right.
Professionals like doctors would call it a drug, but usually you hear the term drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, alcohol is certainly it's like one of the most dangerous drugs, but like weirdly just
cheers. Victor and I are both having a beer,
and like it's fine, but like I don't feel like it's any different from like other things that people use recreationally in most contexts. And it has the potential to be more dangerous. Like, I just feel like somebody driving when they're like hammered is a lot more dangerous than somebody driving when they're like high.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm not advocating for either of them, but I just like the motor skills impairment is like, it's a different thing, Yeah,
well, alcohol seems to do the same thing to everybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Weed is a little more case to case. And I know some people who are like ripped all day long and you would never know. They seem totally sober. They're totally capable of driving or anything. But me, not so much. Like when I'm high, I'm pretty useless.
Yeah, me too. But I really don't do much of that at all anymore.
Yeah, I'm starting to get back into it now that I've found this dad grass. Like not the there's a CBD product that's branded dad grass, not that, but like colloquial shitty weed is what I'm saying.
Yeah, or is it the best weed?
Yeah, it's the one. It's what I can handle. I don't need to be fucking ripped out of my mind. I just like to smile a little easier.
Yeah, do they use overdose? They use overdose with most stuff, right? Like you can have like a meth overdose or something, right? But I think a lot of those drugs started out with some kind of medical application, right? Like they are.
Yeah, I guess even heroin probably.
Oh yeah,
is a derivative of
Heroin was a brand name for a bear product.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I learned something today.
It was a medicine. Yeah.
For bears?
No. No, it's a BAYER, I think.
Is that
a pharmaceutical company?
Yeah.
It's like,
a bear product for bears.
It's like a horse tranquilizer, like ketamine, but for bears.
Yeah, I'm in the bear products industry.
Also known as bear care.
Yeah, I remember seeing like old commercials like from the 50s where like they would be like, tired housewife? Have a little heroin.
Really?
Yeah, if you Google heroin and BAYER, bear, you'll see a bunch of images of like old timey bottles that have like that labeling. And
so it was ingested orally like a pill?
I mean, I don't know liquid,
like a tincture.
Oh, weird.
I think it was originally supposed to be a safe alternative to morphine because people are getting addicted to morphine.
I shouldn't laugh at that. That's
good job, guys. I'm glad to live in this era where we figured all the drugs out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing there hasn't been an opioid epidemic in like a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pharmaceutical companies prescribing addictive opioids to the masses?
Never.
Wow. Can't imagine that happening this day and age.
Yeah, there's no like new drugs that is suddenly in all of the other drugs.
There were like around Halloween, parents were freaking out because they thought that there's always a new thing, but they thought that like people were going to be putting rainbow fentanyl pills in their kids' Halloween candy. It's like,
I miss the good old days when it was just razor blades.
Like, I don't think that even ever happened. It happened like one time, and it was a guy who did it to his own kid.
It's always somebody, you know.
Yeah, I think there's like a couple of candy poisonings, but they were all like parents trying to kill their own kids for like insurance money or something.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this on the podcast before, but I don't. Oh yeah, it was after my Sam Elliott ice cream dream. We were talking about how I don't really like sweets, and I think I brought up that one Halloween as a little kid ate too much candy and like threw up everywhere. Mm-hmm. But another component of it was like all the candy scares,
right,
of the early 90s. And I'm so susceptible to shit like that. I wasn't even alive in the 80s when that dude poisoned the Tylenol. You remember?
Oh yeah, that was in Seattle.
Was that
in Seattle?
Yeah.
I'm still nervous.
They put like cyanide in like ibuprofen pills. Yeah,
like at the factory, I think, and it made it to like, you know, variety of different store shelves.
Oh no, the thing I'm thinking of is that this like started the he like tampered with bottles, and it like spurred a like national like requirement that they put like seals on that you can see if the seal's been broken.
Yeah, we were probably thinking of the same event, and I just have the facts wrong.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what happened.
Probably the facts wrong.
All I know is that somebody poisoned Tylenol in the 80s, and I'm nervous every time I take one now. I'm
irrational, but I'm sorry for you.
I'm neurotic.
I went the other way. Each time I take a Tylenol, I'm like, please let this be the cyanide capsule.
So every time I had one bad experience with pot brownies. Now every time I eat any baked good, I'm watching the clock for about 45 minutes. And after 45 minutes, if I'm like, well, okay, I still feel normal, I guess I wasn't dosed.
Yeah, you're really susceptible to to generalizing those bad experiences.
I remember I brought like banana bread into work, and I was like, "You want some banana bread?" And he was like, "No, thanks. I'm terrified of baked goods."
Mm-hmm. I don't think I said it all proud like that. Sure, there's a tinge of shame in my voice.
I think that's good though. It's like we're people have different levels of anxiety about that kind of stuff as like an evolutionary thing, right? It's like,
oh, I would not have survived. Natural selection would have picked me up.
Just eating whatever.
Just licking rocks.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had Adderall back in the day.
Yeah. I just want to read this dream journal entry that I don't really remember writing, but I do remember the dream now that I've read it. It just says, Hawaii, dock, sawtooth shark, dolphin, sawtooth targeting me, whittling club, birthday party has a weird vibe. That was it.
It was like beat poetry.
It's a poem, yeah.
Is a
I want to
sawtooth
join a
shark?
whittling club, though.
Is it? Oh, I thought you meant whittling like a club to hit the shark with.
Wait. Oh, no. Yeah, no. It was
Like a club, like a weapon.
No, there was just like, then I was in a room in a group of people.
All whittling.
Yeah.
Is a sawtooth shark a thing?
I think there's a thing called a sawfish. And the shark in my dream had like it had like a nose that looked like the blade of a chainsaw.
That's metal.
Yeah.
Did you want to do that dream?
Nah.
So the dream I was thinking of was unfortunately written down on the notes app of my old phone, which I just broke in half the other day. Like, not literally, but like I was on a jog and it was dark out and it was raining, and for some reason I was running on the sidewalk and I tripped over some uneven sidewalk and like landed on the phone. So I'm gonna have to recall it from memory. Trigger warning for this dream: suicide. But basically, I was working underground. I used to work for this company that did like parking. Like we were contractors that worked with like different vendors, like malls and shopping centers that needed. It doesn't matter. I spent a lot of time working underground in like underground parking garages, and it was very reminiscent of that. Except I got the feeling that it was more like broader transportation based, like a subway station maybe. But had this militant feel, like we all wore the same uniforms. And at one point we're in like a control room where there's different monitors for different surveillance cameras. And I can't remember if I saw on the camera, if I just got word that this had happened, but there's this person that I hated at the time in real life, a coworker of mine.
It was me.
No, this is before that. I mean, I had this dream, I don't know, like maybe a year ago, but the person that I hated, I worked with him like several years ago. I'll call him fucking Jim.
Fuck Jim.
Go fuck yourself, Jim.
Yeah.
But anyway, I caught word that Jim had shot himself. And so a bunch of us ran down to where the scene had happened, and it was like, again, like a subway platform, and it was kind of near like where the tracks were, but more on the platform. There was this grisly scene where Jim had shot himself in the head, and kind of everyone was like upset at the scene, like except me. I wasn't like perturbed by it. I wasn't happy that he was dead, even though I hated this guy. It wasn't a feeling of like good riddance or anything. But the reason the dream stuck with me is this poignant feeling of like, I'm capable of handling this. Like I remember comforting everybody, and I felt this like overwhelming sense of responsibility and capability in handling something that heavy and helping other people through it. So I don't know if that's like leading the witness in terms of like trying to interpret this, but that was what stuck with me was an overwhelming feeling in the dream that may or may not be what it was actually about.
Do you remember what was going on in your life around that time?
Yeah, I mean, I said it was about a year ago because I think it coincided with me moving to Los Angeles. I remember at the time connecting it to, this is kind of why I was interested in maybe bringing it up now to find out like whether or not this is what it was about, because my inclination at the time, I tied it to not knowing what I was doing with my life at the time. I mean, I thought I knew, like, obviously I moved to LA to like work in this industry in radio and podcasting, yada, yada. But there was this thing at the back of my mind that was like, if this doesn't work out, like, I don't know, like LA's the last stop, you know, like I don't know where I would go to do this, after here. So I think I was tossing around plan Bs, like for an entirely separate career. Because if, you know, working in media, audio media didn't work out in any capacity, I didn't want to go back to like, I didn't want to be forced to cook in kitchens until I died. So I was thinking of like other viable career choices. And one of them was the funeral industry. Like I have a note here on my desk that's been up for a long time that just says Cypress College. Because I was just doing research of like good funeral science programs in the state of California, and Cypress College is one of them.
I did not know this about you, that was something you were interested in.
Yeah. It just, I don't know why. It's always been in the back of my head as something that I could do or would want to do. And I think that's why that dream made me think tied to this, is because the correlation is, I think it's not, it's a very specific type of person that chooses to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, I feel like due to a certain set of characteristics that aren't exceedingly common, most of which have to do with like, being able to withstand, existential sort of gloom, for lack of a better word.
So just to recap, you're new to LA. You're feeling like maybe you're you're there to pursue the career path that you're currently on, but it's scary. You've tried this a couple of times. Getting here, you're like, maybe this doesn't work out. Maybe this blows up in my face. So I'm also looking at other possibilities if I need to go a different way. One of the ones that's in your brain is being involved in the funeral industry, right? Mm-hmm. And then how long had it been since you were working the parking job? Was that way in your past, or was that kind of recent?
2017.
Okay, so
I moved here in 2021.
Gotcha. Okay. Was that was that one of your first real jobs, one of your first serious jobs?
No. Well, no. I mean, I was 27 at the time. It was one of my few like departures from the culinary world.
That was going to be my next question. Okay. So it's like a taste of work outside of the work that you're thinking about trying to get away from, right? Because in your mind, it's like cooking is the thing that you don't want to do. So this is your experience doing something else, right?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. The parking job was also like pretty dead end, but
totally
probably even more dead end than cooking. You could aspire to be a chef. Like if you really are passionate about cooking, it's not dead end at all. But for someone like me, it's a nowhere.
I can see, like for myself, I feel like if I was in your shoes, that would feel representative of like a fear that the stuff outside of cooking is also ugly or not good, right? Like that there aren't good options. It's like cooking or stuff that's like the parking job, right? If that's where you're putting yourself into. I don't know, but I'm kind of fatalistic that way.
I didn't think about that connection. I brought up the parking job just because the scenery of the dream reminded me of like being underground all day.
Yeah. Well, was this
which
guy
is inherently dark? Yeah.
Was this guy a coworker at the parking job, or was he a coworker at a different place?
In a kitchen.
Oh, in a
okay,
kitchen.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, what was the context of when he was a kitchen coworker? Or like, we don't want to get into the specifics of the guy, but like, was that a recent job? Was that also a long time ago? So around the same time as the parking job?
It was actually like just after the parking job.
Okay.
It was in the same era of my life. I was dating and living with the same person, and
interesting.
That was a period of time where I developed a lot of like shame and angst around jobs.
Okay,
that's just what I was going to ask, right? Because it's like maybe that is the time period where you developed a certain relationship with work or your perception of yourself as a working person.
I wouldn't say that was my first real job because it still didn't feel like a real job, but that was the first real. I think it was the first time I lived with a partner, and bills became not just a thing for me, but like a thing that someone else was concerned with.
Right.
And she had all this like often negative input on what I was doing to earn money or not doing to earn money. So that was really when I started to like, before that I was just kind of cruising through the workforce, like whatever, I'll just like, as long as I can pay the bills and make my music, man, like the rest will fall into place. And then that period of time was when I really started to get like, like riddled with shame around like not being further in my career.
That was the shift from I'll figure it out to I need to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I'm just going to read this part of the suicide entry because I feel like it connects here. To dream of someone else committing suicide represents an aspect of your personality that is self-defeating or choosing to fail. It may also reflect your feelings about a person who has changed in ways you don't like. You may feel they are a loser or a failure.
Yeah. No, that's interesting because the person who was the victim in the dream, the tension there, the reason I hate it, and I don't use that word lightly. There are very few people in this world that I would say I hate. Like I don't know. I generally don't waste my energy having enemies, you know. But this dude, he was the sommelier at this restaurant I worked at, and he was just a total pretentious jackass.
Yeah.
And I always had this feeling about him that he was like a compulsive liar. And he bought the restaurant from the owners.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. You've told me about this guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He's an avid podcast listener, but I doubt he's listening to this one. But if he is, he's already figured it out.
Yeah, fuck you, Jim.
But yeah, one of his first moves as the new owner was to fire me. And I think he cleaned house. He fired a few more people after me, and some left because he was the owner. Not a popular guy. But then after all this like job shame like mounted, mostly stemming from this relationship with this person that like was really, I don't know, hounding sounds like I don't know, I don't want to sound like I'm pointing fingers, but she was very, I don't know, helped install a lot of these insecurities. Years after the breakup, I guess this guy like ran the restaurant into the ground by, I don't know exactly the details. I heard the word embezzlement. I don't know if that's
a fun word.
Yeah, he did some shady shit. I don't know exactly what it was, but the owners had to like come out of retirement to like bail him out.
Man.
And my ex texted me about this because she was still friends with a coworker or whatever, and she was like, "Oh, I guess you were right about that guy." And I was like, "Yeah, thanks for listening to me." Pretty good judge of character sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, so it feels like there's a lot of hangups floating around this dream.
Yeah, well, that's super interesting. And then, like, it sounds like that was just like a part of your life that had a big impression on you and how you see yourself and how your relationship with work affects your self-worth. And so you're here and you're like having some anxiety about whether you're going to have to start back at square one with something, right? So it makes sense that that you would have a dream kind of taking you back to that place where that was square one of this project you're on to figure out what you want to do and do it.
And then the fact that he would be the one to, off himself makes sense. And so like if he's a representation of like everything I hated about this industry that I want to be done with, that tracks. Were you going to say something, Olivia?
Oh, just that like this part where it says, like someone else committing suicide, it may reflect your feelings about a person who has changed in ways you don't like. You may feel they're a loser or a failure. So like him committing suicide is like you finding out like that confirmation that like, okay, he totally fucked up the restaurant and like had to get bailed out and that the way you were feeling about it in the dream, like it wasn't that you were happy about it, right? But you weren't.
I wasn't as like, crestfallen as everyone around me was. Everyone around me in the dream was falling apart. Not necessarily because he was beloved, but because that's a grisly, horrible thing to see. And I felt like I could handle it in the dream. Which, after the fact, I tied that into my interest in the funeral industry. I saw that as like an affirmation that like this is something I would be good at because I think I can emotionally handle it.
Yeah, I think this all ties into the things we've talked about with other dreams you've had about your relationship to work and career paths. I feel like a lot of that makes sense.
Yeah, because honestly, my draw toward that industry, like if I'm being real objective about it, I do think I have like a skill set for it or a personality for it is probably more accurate. But also just as a like plan B or even the plan Z, it's not going anywhere. People are going to keep dying and it doesn't pay a lot, but that's not a priority of mine. The fact that I as a funeral director or whatever, would have an important job and like put on a suit every day. Like there's an air of reverence and respect to it that I could see myself, if I know I'm not going to do anything else with my life creatively or whatever, in a professional capacity, that would be a place that is, I think I would at least be content. I wouldn't be like, I would like to think that I wouldn't be, yearning for more from there. Like it would at least be an admirable career.
It's not dissimilar from what Victor was talking about in his reflection on his slide dream, right? Where it's like there is something rewarding and fulfilling about doing something that is meaningful to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we've talked a little bit about ambition and like hustle culture effects on the psyche and stuff. But all of that stuff is very divorced from like doing human good or making human connections or actually like benefiting your community in any way.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more like, how much do I make a year? Do I have the prestigious title? Am I doing the prestigious work? Like very much disconnected from like what good you're doing. And most of the people I know, when they start thinking about what good am I doing, kind of spiral, because when you think about it, most jobs are not connected to like actually materially improving the lives of people.
Right.
No, most jobs are forwarding the dream of someone higher up that isn't
right.
that already isn't doing anything good.
Right.
Well, and like I just don't know that there's an end when on the other path, right? Like if you're just following like ambitions to like achieve some kind of fulfillment, like if you're like you're waiting for like the moment when you like know that you've made it or whatever, it's like that's never gonna come, I don't think, if you're on that trajectory, because so long as other people are not really affected in a positive way by what you're doing, there's always going to be more. You're always going to be striving for like a thing that is never going to come to you in the way that you're expecting it,
Yeah, when I was talking about my reflection on the dream, I think that's what I was getting at is like when I tried to put myself into the perspective of the slide, as silly as that sounds, I felt like I kind of glimpsed a part of myself that like is ridiculous, but is like just this because it's like this impulse to be like so detached from everything else that like it's kind of not being a person anymore,
Yeah.
It's not a real drive, right? It's like a thing that keeps you moving in a direction, and there are checkpoints along the way, but there is no end to it, right? Which I think is what happens to a certain brand of kind of deranged billionaire, where it's like, oh, why aren't you just like out there doing something good in the world? Why is it like you're trying to make the dollars continue to pile up in like they're useless to you? What are you doing? And I think it's that you go down that path, like that dark path of just like chasing the high of hitting those like very independent, very goal-oriented check marks. And once you're far enough down that road, there's no going back,
Once you've passed the amount of money that your lineage could ever spend,
right,
then you're just running up the scoreboard. There's no reason to make more money other than points.
Right. Yeah, it's just points. And you're chasing those points because you have not figured out how to get the life satisfaction and like a healthier place, I think. Yeah, but it seems like I don't know, being like underground, like in this dark concrete place, like I know that it's reminiscent of the job, but it's like you already, like you said, you kind of set it up for us. But like, if you're looking for it, there's so many things in this dream that point towards like despair at the idea of having to turn from the path you're on, right? It's like a part of you trying to like sit comfortably with it, but it's all of these things you don't like about your old options or where you started.
Yeah, and the feeling at the end of it when everyone was breaking down and I was remaining strong was close to resignation. It's like the intersection of resignation and pride, because like I felt strong and capable, but also like, well, I guess this is my role. Being the fucking Charon, is that his name? The ferryman on the River Styx.
I think that is his name.
I'm a little rusty on my Greek mythology.
There's an entry here that I think leans into this interpretation. Enemy. To dream of your enemy represents an aspect of yourself that feels intentionally opposed to your own ideas or goals. It may also reflect a person or situation in your life that seems to be purposefully trying to make you lose or hurt your self-esteem. And then the part that stuck out to me, dreaming of an enemy may also reflect your staunch rejection of a person or situation, a person or problem that you want to avoid. So like this guy showing up in your dream is like symbolic of you not wanting to end up in this scenario with these people again.
Yeah, but I was with those people, just in a different capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is maybe how I see the funeral industry. There's like, it's a ripcord. It's a second parachute, you know, if the first one fails, but it's not necessarily the dream. It's just, I think the appeal is, I don't know if you have one of these like plans or if your current job is this plan, but like, I think the idea is that it's like, at least I chose it. You know what I mean? Like I got into cooking incidentally. That was just supposed to pay the bills through college, but then like you don't land one job, so you end up cooking more, and then you know that resume gets thicker, so you can always fall back on it, and you just keep cooking, and you never meant to. But the idea behind the funeral thing is like, well, if I wasn't able to achieve dream A, at least plan B is something that I thought about and chose and went after, and that feels more like a purposeful accomplishment than falling back on something that just happened to be there.
Yeah,
I can totally relate to that impulse. I do feel like I felt like once I got out of school and I was trying to find work, I really felt like I was just trying to not drown, essentially. Like I felt like I was just kind of adrift in a storm. And I was just like clinging to anything I could that would keep me from going under. And it's kind of never stopped feeling like that, you know? It's just always kind of felt like following whatever path is keeping me afloat, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of the way it's set up.
Right. Good dream, Zach.
But yeah, I thought we might find something that would like diverge from my initial analysis of it, but...
Well, we could dig into some dream Bible entries. I've got, Olivia already was looking at suicide. We've got subway trains. I don't think that's right. I think there was a subterranean.
We were on a subway platform, and regardless, I dream about subway trains all the time, so I would be curious just in general.
So I can read about trains all day long. Do you want just the platform part of the entry, or do you want me to go down the whole subway train?
No, actually, platform. Yeah.
Okay.
That's relevant to many dreams.
To dream of a subway train platform represents feelings about waiting responsibly for an opportunity to do something yourself and not have to tell anyone you are. Waiting to start or stop a progressive experience with intervals. Dating, paycheck to paycheck, etc.
Huh. Yeah. No, I just reinforced what I just said.
Yep.
About, well, sorry guys, I guess I already crushed it.
To dream of something subterranean represents some area of your life that you don't want noticed. A wish to hide something, doing something privately or that doesn't draw attention.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of resonates too with the whole... Like you guys said, you had no idea that I was thinking about the funeral industry.
No, I don't think I knew that about you.
Because it's a thing I didn't like tell anybody. So the subterranean entry resonates in that way. I wasn't exactly going around broadcasting my plan B.
Well, now you are.
You're literally broadcasting your plan B.
Yeah, but plan A is starting to get some traction, so it feels like less of a inevitability.
So we've got the calm entry. Would you say that your calmness was positive or negative?
It was bittersweet.
Bittersweet. You wouldn't call it negative?
No.
Okay. So to dream of feeling calm represents feelings of being aware of yourself, waiting, being patient, or not reacting. Feeling good, not needing to react. Feeling that nothing currently serious happening. That's what it says. Feeling that nothing currently serious happening while thinking about a problem or uncertain situation. Accepting a situation as it is. Predictability or steadiness during uncertain or dangerous experiences. Feelings about a dangerous or uncertain situation not being a serious problem in the current moment, but that definitely has the potential to be. A general sense that nothing is wrong. It just kind of described being calm, it feels like.
Yeah, but it did resonate. The stuff about like not taking action or not having to take action is relevant to where I was when I was thinking about funeral stuff. Because it was like, I don't have to do this right now. It's just something that it's just a safety net that I'm laying out.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, you were getting your dream interpretation legs.
Yeah, I think you nailed this one already.
Yeah, you were getting your sea legs with this one. I think that's what this is. I think this is, you were thinking, dreams are so often like, well, what's eating at you right now?
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And then you'll keep dreaming about that thing until you move on from it and something else is eating at you. And then your dreams will be about that new thing. Which has been a problem for us as content, because we keep drifting back to like, oh, why do I keep dreaming about this thing? It's because it's bothering you. It's because it's the main thing bothering you.
Yeah, and it's usually, it's usually nothing that can be solved like that week.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not going to like have a brand new problem next week, you know?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how like over time do our dreams shift as if we just keep on chugging along doing this podcast, like as we shift into different eras, our worries are.
I worry about that with the themes in my dreams, because it's like you were saying earlier, Olivia, like someone who's, or at least this is what I got out of what you were saying earlier, somebody who, like us, who has aspirations and drives towards things, discontent people, like who's to say when something takes off and I have like an awesome career, that I won't just be like, well, what's the next step? Like I might be dreaming about career stuff forever.
Right. Or like I also feel like some things are going to take up a lot of real estate, whereas like when you've addressed that concern and when something is no longer a concern for you, other things can maybe step into the light and take up more space.
Yeah. We all need more problems.
Right.
That's the thing. Or more people to write in and give us their dreams. That's thejungandtherestlesspod @gmail.com.
I should check that email.
Sweet dreams. Yeah, we might have we might have a bunch of content waiting to be farmed.
Is that the dream email?
Yeah.
Oh, did I say it right? thejungandtherestlesspod @gmail.com.
Yeah, you said it right.
All right.
No, I was going to check it really quick, see if anybody's.
It's just a bunch of WordPress.
So write in, sweet dreamers. We're counting on you to keep being a pod.
Yeah, what is that concept? It's like fundamental dissatisfaction, right?
Sounds right.
That certainly sounds like a thing.
It's just like an aspect of being human is that there's things that you want, like there's like being totally satisfied and perfectly content in like a lasting way is not really compatible with being a person.
Yeah.
And so the trap is to like chase that to the detriment of like your ability to appreciate your life and the people in it. Yeah. But also you gotta make that money, you know. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's the thing. That funeral directors make a shockingly low salary. I mean, if you're if you own your funeral parlor and you know are also a business person, you can make a pretty fat salary. But like entry level, for as important as I feel like a funeral director is, it's pretty low median
the thing. Okay, so not to be disparaging of any profession, but I have kind of a negative perception of that stuff because my understanding is that there's a lot of like upselling that happens with like caskets and funeral services and stuff.
Depends on where you go. Yeah.
With like people at their most vulnerable, you're gonna like try and like. Yeah. No,
I had a buddy who worked in sales at it wasn't a funeral home though. It was a place that sells caskets. It was in the funeral industry, but he was a great salesman, but he didn't last long at that job because of what you're saying. It was super cynical.
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels dark.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, obviously, all my interactions with funeral directors have been positive. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this vision. But
I mean, I think that means like you have an idea of what it should be and what it can be, right? And so like you want to approach it in a respectful way where it's more about being of service than it is about like you know. Trying to sell the high-end casket.
Trying to sell them on extra cushions for their corpse.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm generally against the idea of... I mean, it's your body. You do what you want. But like, for me, I don't want to be buried. I feel like that's 6 feet of real estate too much. Like, I just don't need to be... You're supposed to decompose.
Yeah, it's not very eco-friendly.
Yeah.
Well, it just doesn't make sense to put a bunch of material around you and the earth, which you're supposed to be returning to, theoretically.
Right. Totally agree. Feels like denying you, like, your return to the earth. Yeah. Or, like, you know.
I either want to be, like, a Viking buried at sea, or just because I think that would be fun for the people that get to bury me, to, like, do archery with fire.
I want the mushrooms to eat me.
Yeah, or I want I want that. I want to be like raw dog into the earth. Like no casket, just buried naked. After you've taken all the useful organs out to donate, the rest just make me topsoil.
They have this. I think the first like body composting factory. I don't know what you call it. Plant it's in Seattle. I think
there's no great word for it, is there? Huh?
Yeah. Emporium, I don't know, but like it's kind of cool because they have these like it's inside. They have like boxes that they do all of the composting in, and it surprisingly takes a short amount of time for a body to completely decompose. It's like 2 months or something.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, from whence we came, ashes to ashes, you know.
Right. Yeah, but so that, and then I think what they do is that they can then like the family members can have some of the like very fertile soil and like take some of that home and like plant a tree or something, you know. I don't know. I like that idea.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like if you want something like that, then you can come get it. But I don't want to like make you carry my urn around,
right?
Go on an expedition to spread it in the woods or whatever. Like for me, I don't know. When if someone I love dies, like I'm totally willing to like go out of my way for whatever their wishes were. But personally, I wouldn't want to burden anybody. But that's just
I'm gonna haunt Victor. That's what I've decided. I don't care what you do with my body, but like I'm just gonna haunt you.
Statistically, you'll outlive him.
That's
I
what
keep
you telling
think.
her that. My ideal situation. Okay, big concrete box, right, for the support, because you gotta keep the casket clean because it's gonna be gold casket right down in the middle. And then I would like, instead of dirt, I would like to be covered in other donor organs.
Just incinerate.
Just fill that hole.
Just incinerate the entire inventory of the organ donation wing of the hospital.
I'm not saying they have to do it. I'm just saying that's the only thing that would make me happy.
Yes, dear.
I would like a pyramid built for me to be buried
that's what
under.
I'm saying. Why aren't we still doing pyramids? Let's get back into that.
Yeah. Bury me with all of my worldly possessions, all of my pets, and my best friends.
Right. My spirit wouldn't be able to rest knowing that anything that I had in life was being useful to anybody.
When I was a kid, I was staying at my aunt's house, and it was a religious household, and they made us say our prayers before bed. And my cousin, we were probably like, I don't know, younger than 10 at the time. And he said, and if I die before I wake, please destroy all my toys so none of the other kids can play with them. And his mom was like, that's not how it goes, but
but we will.
I lost my shit. That was the funniest thing I'd heard at that age. And I just realized that's lyrics from our intro.
Yeah, that's right.
Full circle. There's another way there's a thing in Scandinavia somewhere. You can have your body frozen and then like a statue and placed in front of a giant speaker, and then they'll play a song and it shatters you into like the
Wait.
That's badass.
Are you joking?
No, it's a real thing. Look it up.
What?
The vibrations from the speaker, the cones, will shatter the ice into like dust.
And you will be shattered.
Yeah.
You'll just be dissipated in like a pink mist.
Can I watch I don't know, is this fucked up, but can I watch a video of that?
I don't know if they videotaped it. And I don't know how many people have actually done it, but one of my favorite conversation starters is, what song would you pick?
Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, come on.
That was like when I was like a edgelord teenager. That was like something I would think about. I was like, what's the song I want to hear when I die?
There's no good answer is the thing.
What song do you want
to... So go with the worst option.
What song do you want to evaporate your body?
Right.
Not Stairway to Heaven.
If I were to have like a traditional burial, like slowly, descended into the earth in a coffin, the song I would want played is Dead by They Might Be Giants.
I don't think I know that song.
I think I know that song.
Off of the album Flood. It's a great song.
Cool.
But to evaporate my corpse, I don't know, it would have to be something that starts slow and then has like a big, heavy drop that would be like you shatter on beat 1.
Yeah. I feel like it's not a bad song, but it's definitely not like a song I would defend anymore. But I feel like the right choice, if you're going to be shattered by a speaker, is Cake's The Distance.
Yeah, that's got a thumpy beat. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to Google this.
Yeah, I was trying to figure
Scandinavian
that
frozen body ice sculpture explosion.
It would be
How
cool.
did you find this?
Somebody told me about it, but I fact checked them at the time, but this was years ago. Could have been an urban legend this whole time.
We might have done it one time, and then they're like, "Okay, we can't do that anymore."
Yeah. Like, all right, that was fun, but we're all covered in human.
Yeah.
Human frostbite.
Sven's the only guy that ever got the honor.
Oh, there's an Atlas Obscura entry about it. Okay.
It would be fun to have like multiple sculptures of you made out of ice, so that like they could explode at different times throughout the song before it gets to your actual frozen corpse. You could do that. And it's just one by one until it gets to you.
I think, everybody, that just feels like the kind of send off that is like such a main character syndrome thing. There's so much of that out there as it is. Did you find it?
Yeah, I think your friend was fucking with you, because I don't think that they put your body sculpture in front of a speaker and they get to play music. There's a machine that was invented that would freeze your body and then vibrate it and like shatter you into dust. But
with music?
No, there's no music involved.
Well, why not?
I mean, they could probably put on a playlist.
Yeah, they probably play a song and try and get the shaking machine to like time it appropriately.
Yeah.
Well, if it hasn't been done, then that's good news for me because I get to invent it.
This article is called Ice Block Man. Could a frozen dude smash in a million pieces?
Probably more than 1 million.
I feel like we don't have enough ways to get rid of bodies. We should do some brainstorming. I feel like there's got to. You want to get into the industry, Zach? Why not be groundbreaking? You don't have to just roll in and do what everybody else is doing. We could be innovating here. Like
the point behind the plan B was to settle down.
No.
Not to transfer my hustle into.
No, that's where life gets exciting, is when you move into the funeral business, or the business as we call it.
The biz.
The biz.
Thank you for listening to The Young and the Restless.
You can follow us on social media at The Young and the Restless Pod, and submit your dreams for interpretation to thejungandtherestlesspod@gmail.com.
And as we always say,
Jesus wasn't a person. Jesus was a cured ham.
You keep a